Welcome to the 12th episode of the Illegal Use of Hand Sand to the Face Football Podcast. How are you, Jake?
I am fantastic, Hayden. Free agency's got me feeling great. How about you?
Yeah, there was a little Trubisky business going on in Buffalo.
Oh, love it. I love some Trubisky business.
Ah, man. Love love that it feels like everybody I have ever heard call Mitch Trubisky a nickname. I've never heard anyone use the same nickname twice. Like, never heard two different people have the same nickname for him. And I say Trubisky business, but yeah.
Yeah,
There's plenty of
it's
them.
oh yeah, he's got a long list, and I'm pretty sure some Chicago fans, some vulgar things about him. Will refrain from spewing that out, but
Yeah, but he is the MVP, so
yes, so that's another nickname for him too, the MVP. That award will be forever stuck to him.
it's wonderful. So happy. But he's on our football team. Would you like to talk about our football team first?
Yeah, sure. Oh, by the way, we're talking about all the free agent signings that have happened so far to March 19th at 6:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
6:35.
So
6:35.
6:36 now. Um,
What really? Oh, jeez. I must be on
yeah.
a different time than you. I'm still seeing 35. Oh, there it is. Okay.
All right. So we're just gonna go over the free agency signings so far by some teams. If they haven't made any moves, then we can't really say much about them. But starting with the Bills, the two notable signings that they've had is Mitch Trubisky and Emmanuel Sanders. Trubisky, I love that. Yeah, just bringing in a guy that's very similar to Josh Allen. Like Matt Barkley is a fan favorite, and it really sucks to see him go. But when you can bring in someone like Mitch Trubisky who is willing to take a pay cut like he did to sit in the quarterback room and learn from our coaching staff, that makes me feel great about the direction the Bills are going when guys want to come here just to learn.
Yeah, I I don't I guess I don't interpret it the same way as you. I just like he may not have gotten any offers to go start anywhere, so it's like where is like the best place that I could succeed if I ever got into a game as a backup quarterback? And it probably was Buffalo. And the other thing that I think there's consideration for here is like anybody who doesn't have a stable quarterback situation at this time isn't going to want to sign him, because then if they sign him, you have the issue of like fans calling for the head of the other quarterback too quickly when anything goes wrong. So by not signing him, you keep away from that. But if you're the Bills and you got somebody like Josh Allen who's not going to get thrown out immediately, like he would have to play terribly for a long period of time before people would be calling for Trubisky. I think that's a good spot for him to go. So there's no like um, issues with morale or like opinionated views on the quarterback position in the locker room and from the fan base. And then, like I said, it's the best situation to succeed if he ever did end up getting in the game. And then
Hmm.
he can put some good film out there if he does get in the game.
Yeah, hopefully there's a preseason and he can actually show what he can do.
Oh, that would be
Oh,
so fun. He would play like
yes.
a ton in those games
Hmm.
too, and he actually, even though like low level starting quarterback realistically to
He would
backup
tear
QB
up
range,
backup.
yeah, backups. Yeah, that would be awesome. Dominate in the preseason.
And the other notable signing that you're not as big of a fan of, mainly from a money standpoint, I think, is Emmanuel Sanders coming to Buffalo. 34 years old now. His birthday was 2 days ago or yesterday, one of the two. Uh, and I don't mind it because they lost John Brown, or they didn't. They cut John Brown to clear up cap space to sign more of their guys, but then they restructure contracts to free up basically the same, a little bit less than the same amount of cap space as John Brown to then bring in Emmanuel Sanders. I I kind of get it, but at the same time, I mean,
I
it's
don't.
one of those things that's really hard to wrap your head around.
Okay, the once a player is cut from the team, I don't think about them anymore. So that wasn't really an issue for me. But like
Hmm.
the fact that it is weird to kind of cut one guy and sign a guy that's basically going to be the exact same thing, and like there's not really an obvious improvement there. I guess you could say Emmanuel Sanders is a more well-known name, but player-wise I don't know if he's that much of an improvement. I like Emmanuel Sanders as a player, but doesn't make sense to me. uh no, from a cap perspective it doesn't make sense from a receiver depth and whatnot. But from the standpoint of the talent he has, I'm fine with that. But I think our cap could have been used somewhere else more wisely, and I'll just leave it at that.
Hmm. Yeah. Uh, do you want to just go division by division and crank them out?
Yeah, that's easiest because yeah, that's the order I've got. I'm looking at him in.
All right. So, Miami next then.
Yep.
Will Fuller has been their biggest splash signing. Uh, they've signed some depth guys, but it seems from what I gathered by looking at social media and everything, Dolphins fans aren't huge fans of what their GM has done. Besides Will Fuller, the other two that I really thought were notable were Malcolm Brown and Jacoby Brissett. They haven't gotten any names, but I mean you can't really argue with depth.
He,
So,
yeah. You see, this is a guy that's at a different position than what I'm talking about, but I like the idea of getting guys that are extreme value plays.
mhm,
I'm looking at this one that I'm seeing. I like Jacoby Brissett. That's going to be a good backup for them. Malcolm Brown. That's a fine running back. I mean, the running back depth is miserable on this team, so that makes sense. And Will Fuller's good no matter who you have for receivers. But the one other player that I want to talk about is Justin Coleman. 1 year,
oh yes.
2.75 million. Um, that's an amazing deal. And even though we get Emmanuel Sanders on a 1 year deal, um, I that value for Justin Coleman, like not even a $3 million contract for 1 year in terms of like the salary cap. $3 million is a lot of money, but in terms of the salary cap, that's barely a hit to it. And that's that's very good for the Dolphins. Um, well, it would be good for any team. It's actually probably worse for the Dolphins because the Dolphins already have so many corners, which makes it
Hmm.
so that it doesn't make sense. But that's the type of value signing that I really like. I mean, I think he's probably a better player than a lot of people give him credit for. And then you've running the here in this is like what's the risk in signing him to a contract that's less than $3 million? Like it's barely a bump on the radar. So even though they've got three other corners that they want in front of him, geez, like how is it not worth it to sign him for that amount of money?
Yeah. It provides veteran depth. Uh, it's just really it's a good signing. I'm not gonna say it's not a good signing. Just whenever Miami brings in more corners, it confuses me. Like,
Well, yeah,
uh,
but it's the exact same thing as Buffalo signing a wide receiver. It's just they
yeah.
got a better deal than we got
Hmm.
for our wide receiver. If we signed Emmanuel Sanders for $3 million, you wouldn't hear me complaining. But
Yes.
they signed Justin Coleman for less than $3 million. That's insane.
Hmm. I did not realize that his deal was that small. I
I
thought he would
didn't.
have.
No, I didn't either. I'm looking at it now, and that's the only reason I pointed it out.
Hmm.
Because if it was 6 million, like Emmanuel Sanders was, then I would be saying, like the Bills, I would say that's a stupid contract when you look at the depth at your position. But at some point, it's like, okay, that's a low enough contract that even though we have insane depth there, like we need to sign him to that deal.
Hmm. Uh, and just to cover the offense a little bit more, after talking about Justin Coleman, Will Fuller, he's gonna be good for like the 7 games he actually does play for the Dolphins
Hey, don't
before he.
say that.
All right,
It's not
8.
funny to make fun of injuries. It's not their fault.
Okay.
We're not robots yet.
uh, Will Fuller, because he's not gonna be able to play week 1, because he still has to fill out one last game of his suspension, and then he'll get out there. He automatically makes Miami's receiving core better and gives Tua another target. Uh, if they decide to keep Tua.
Yeah.
Uh, but he brings that receiving core to another level. I wouldn't. He's definitely not a number one receiver, and it's weird because uh going to New England next after him, I it's just weird to see all these teams like, yeah, we don't need a number one, we just need four number twos to round out our receiving core, which is fine, but it's a little confusing.
Yeah, well, I mean, let's just look at Josh Allen's progression. Um, we went from no number three receivers on the team in his rookie year to like three number two receivers for him to throw to. And then last year we had like five number two receivers, but you know what the important part was? That we had a real number one.
Mm-hmm.
So, I don't know. Comparison sakes. New
It
England.
just yeah.
Um,
New England need number one kind. Well, they don't need one right now. It's
I
just
don't know
weird
if
that
they do.
Belichick he's giving Nelson Aguilar $22 million
I
for
would,
2 years.
well, you see, the thing I would think is, I would say that for the 49ers number one receiver is George Kittle. And
Hmm.
now, I think if Hunter Henry is healthy, Hunter Henry can be the quote unquote number one receiver.
Okay.
The thing is that it's really strange to me that they went Hunter Henry and Jonnu Smith with the same amount of money each year,
Hmm.
because it 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 makes it's like saying that they're the same player, or at least on the same level, and I don't know. But does that mean if Hunter Henry wasn't getting hurt so often that he would be more close to a $15 million yearly market cap value? Or
Uh,
sorry, cap value.
yeah, or it's just Belichick finally having money to play with, and he hasn't worked in free agency since '99,
I
so he
mean,
doesn't
it's
know how to spend money.
it's still strange though. Um,
Oh,
I
I
don't
completely agree.
I don't necessarily dislike signing tight ends. I think having multiple threatening tight ends is actually a very good thing scheme wise, and it gives you an
Hmm.
advantage that not very many teams can have. But the case with these guys, it that's strange is paying them. If they were able to, if you told me that they were able to pull this off, I would have guessed that each of these guys was getting paid like 8 million a season if they were able
Hmm.
to get two of them. But instead, they're paying them both 12.5 million a year. When in a year, now I know the cap will probably go up in the next few years, but let's say that the cap gets to 200 million by the 2023 season, and these guys will still be under contract for them in those years.
Hmm.
They'll each be making 12.5 million a year, and that will mean that the top two tight ends on their rosters will still be making up an eighth of the salary cap. And
Yeah,
at 180 million right now, um 25 million a year for two tight ends is kind of insane.
yeah.
You
I,
better get
it's,
a lot of production out of these two
mhm.
for that value.
I don't know if it's something that Belichick like looked at Cam and said, he produced really well when he had Greg Olson, so let's just bring in two like Pro Bowl level tight ends for him and see what he could do with those while also surrounding him with like Nelson Aguilar and Kendrick Bourne. I We should also cover their moves on the defensive side too, because it's really easy to get lost in the offensive moves they made because it just kind of makes you wonder, like with the money that's getting thrown around. But Van Noy coming back to New England is hilarious. Called it, by the way, but it's hilarious.
Yeah,
And Matthew Judon coming there too. That's one signing where I as a Bills fan, it's kind of scary to be like, oh, okay, we see Matthew Judon twice a season now.
yeah, well, I mean, I was expecting this defense to be a lot better than it was last year because of uh,
The opt outs and
COVID.
everything.
Yeah,
Yeah.
COVID players returning. So I I don't. I was expecting them to be a lot better. These things make them even scarier, I guess. But
Hmm.
um, it's just the hard part about describing any of these guys is it's like I don't even want to pick any of them out specifically because it is just so much like this is gonna be a very balanced defense once again. Like they're gonna be solid at every position, and that's gonna be why it's hard to move the ball against them.
Yeah, every Belichick coach defense is a balanced defense, except for the one last year. But like you said, they were
Yeah,
missing guys that they
that was
couldn't use.
that was
So
definitely secondary heavy.
yeah.
At least that's what
Uh,
it felt like.
hmm And rounding out the East with the Jets. Uh, what was your favorite signing from the Jets?
And like, does it have to be a new player?
Uh, no, no. What was your overall?
Um, well, I would say Marcus May, but because that's not a new player.
They tagged him before this week, so.
Well, I know that's why I asked the question, but I'll say Jared Davis because I think that
Mm,
he could be really good for Salah on defense because I do think he's a fairly talented guy, but stuck in Detroit, we don't know how much of that was lost to some other issues that may have been going on before. Hopefully, with a good defensive coach, we can see him take off.
yes, yes. And along with that, the other two bigger signings they got were Corey Davis and Carlos Dunlap. Carlos Dunlap immediately makes that pass rush scarier. They get a guy that can actually do something because it just seemed like
They
all
signed
last.
they signed
Huh?
Dunlap,
Yes.
not Carl Lawson.
Oh, I messed up. I messed up in my notes. Yes, they signed Carl Lawson.
Okay,
Sorry.
just
I messed
making
up. I
just
messed up.
yes, I just wanted to make sure that we were on the same page because
Yes, yes.
I they could have signed him as well, and I could have
No,
missed
no.
that.
Yeah, no, I messed up in my notes. Sorry. Yes, Carl Lawson, not Carlos Dunlap. They signed Carl Lawson, and he makes their
Those
pass rush
Bengals
scarier.
D linemen are all the
Yeah,
same.
all of them. Uh, and Corey Davis gives Darnold or whoever is their quarterback a good target to go with Mims and Crowder. Hopefully they draft another guy so they can have more weapons because you can't go wrong with getting weapons for well, especially Sam Darnold because he hasn't had anything. Or if you draft a quarterback, a young guy, you don't want to ruin his confidence. You want to give him some guys to throw the ball to. And I think Corey Davis is a good guy to do that. They got him for decent value too. I didn't think he would his contract wasn't as big as I thought it should say because it's a big contract, but it's not as big as I thought he would get.
Really? Man,
After the season he had, I thought there was going to be a team that had a lot of cap space, like the Jets, like the Jags. And when I saw New England doing everything, I thought New England was going to give him a huge contract, like a stupid contract, because they're like, oh yeah, we saw that 1 year of production. Granted, the Jets one isn't great, but it's a lot less than what I was expecting a team that had a lot of ability to
man,
pay.
I just think most. I gotta be honest. I really think that a lot of Corey Davis's production,
Oh, it's off of AJ Brown. Yeah.
uh, no, like the whole offense, like not just AJ Brown, because AJ Brown is what we think is like the best receiver in the league right now,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
and Corey Davis is playing opposite him with like Jonnu Smith at tight end, Ryan Tannehill quarterback, Derrick Henry in the backfield, like fairly all right offensive line, somewhere in the middle, or if not better than the middle. I just feel like the offense is so balanced. Like you can't focus too much on anybody. And one thing's for sure, if you're gonna focus too much on one guy, you're gonna focus on AJ Brown or Derrick Henry before you even consider Corey Davis to be the focus for a double team or something.
Yeah.
I don't. I'm not. I'm not as big on the Corey Davis thing, and I wouldn't pay him 12.5 million a year either. There's a lot of contracts that guys get that I would not pay. Just wouldn't.
I think in the context of a cap strap season, it makes it look worse than what it actually is. but
No.
with how fast that cap's gonna shoot up, you can think that. I think that with how fast the cap's gonna shoot up next season or in the next 2 seasons, it's going to look like chump change. And I think I think I read that they have a void in his contract after this season. After every year, I think they have a void in his contract, so I don't think that's bad.
I don't know.
Uh,
For like actual for the sake of like what you're getting for how much you pay, I'd rather pay Keelan Cole 5.5 million. Like really, I'd rather do that.
yeah.
I don't like if it's it's like we got these guys that are obvious number one receivers. It's like okay with them. You can pay them a ton of money. But then you've got like the high level number twos to the low level number twos. It's like how different can those guys be? Like Corey Davis is a high level number two, whereas Keelan Cole is a low level number two, but you don't even have to pay Keelan Cole half the amount you have to pay Corey Davis. And this isn't a thing for a cap strap season, like I said. I'm just like always in terms of caps whenever I look at these contracts, I'm like looking at it in terms of how much cap space is that going to take up and how much value is that going to create. Because I think when you give a guy a $12.5 million contract a year for one player, it's like, okay, who could we have signed that's similar to him for less money so that we didn't have to have 35 guys on the roster with like minimum contracts that are just really crappy players we've never heard of. Like
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't like that. Baltimore?
Sure. No one.
No one. Kevin Zeitler.
I
That's a lineman. It's fine. We don't have to talk
oh,
about a lineman.
they
a lot,
actually did. They actually
but-
did something with an O lineman. Yeah, okay, I'll give them credit for that. They signed an offensive lineman and didn't just cut they didn't just cut Orlando Brown. So
Hey,
good job, guys.
hey, Kevin Zeitler's a good guard.
I know
I'm
he
gonna
is,
give him
and
credit.
just so people don't get confused and think that I think Orlando Brown is a guard. No, he's a tackle. It's just every single team seems to be obsessed with getting rid of good offensive linemen and just cut them.
Oh,
So
that's what you're talking about?
yeah, I'm glad Baltimore didn't just cut him straight out.
Well, I mean, yes, and we still haven't found. Well, I don't know. I'll have to look again to make sure, but still haven't seen the team that has just signed like five offensive linemen yet, which is what I wanted to do. Get 5 offensive linemen on really good team-friendly deals. Oh my gosh, it would have been awesome. Cincinnati, I'll say Trey Hendrickson. That's a really good pickup.
Yeah, and they cut Geno Atkins. Those are the only two big moves that they've really done.
They re-signed their long snapper Clark Harris.
All right, I spoke too soon. They've made 3 splash moves this free agency. A lot of just in general, a lot of long snappers moving around. Morgan Cox, the longtime long snapper for the Ravens. Should have mentioned this for the Ravens. He's moved on to Tennessee now.
Oh my gosh, that's insane.
Pro Bowl long snapper too. It's ridiculous.
It's wild. No. Yeah, no, Trey Hendrickson's a really good player, but man, so once again, just surprised with money. 4 years,
Yes, when I
60
felt
million,
that,
and that's 15 mil a year. And it's like it's the weirdest thing because it's like Bengals are not necessarily the smartest team, so it feels right, but the Bengals are also like a team that has been known to like never spend money in the past, so it doesn't feel right either. It's the weird. It's like a paradox. I don't even know.
yeah, it just seemed weird for them to be like, yeah, we don't want to keep Carl Lawson, so we'll let him go because we don't want to pay him.
And pay this guy a ton of money.
We'll pay a different guy that hasn't been with the organization a ton of money.
Oh my gosh, yes. All right, Cleveland. My two things. Jonathan Johnson III.
Ah.
He's on the team now, and
Mhm.
we absolutely love him, both of us.
Yes.
He's amazing, so that's a great signing no matter what. And then
Mhm.
the other guy I'll like to point out that's kind of a flyer one that is more of the type of thing that I would have liked the Bills to do, even though Takaris McKinley isn't like a player I'm a huge fan of. Like taking a 1 year $4 million swing at him, and like if it pays off, hey, that's totally worth it. That's what I like to see. I like that type of uh give it a try mindset.
Mhm. They should see some production from him if he's opposite Miles Garrett, because all the attention is going to go to Miles Garrett, and Tech can go there, produce, and probably trick a team to give him a huge contract next offseason. I don't think Cleveland will fall trap to paying him if he has like an 8-9 sack season.
He feels like an always 1 year deal type of guy.
Yeah,
No one's
yeah.
ever gonna sign him long term.
I've been signing prove it deals since I've been 25. I'm 35 now and I haven't proven anything.
Hey, I,
Ah,
maybe
hey,
eventually.
there's gonna be something I'm going to call it now. He's gonna have a really good season. Maybe get double-digit sacks because he's opposite Miles Garrett, and he's gonna trick some team that has a bunch of cap space to pay him a lot of money.
Well, I mean, there's some player that tricks people every off season, so making that bet isn't that crazy. It's a really weird team though.
What?
The Pittsburgh Steelers
Mm-hmm.
with not signing like anybody new worth note, but just thought Cameron Sutton was leaving. He sticks around. And then even stranger, they actually get Juju Smith-Schuster to re-sign on a 1 year deal, which is absolutely insane.
Yeah. I think they offered him like the least or second to least amount of money. I think the Chiefs offered him more money. The Ravens offered him more money. The Eagles offered him more money, and he turned all that down. To
You don't know how much truth there is to all that, because I mean that could literally be him putting that type of stuff out, trying to leak it, and then it being live. If you don't actually get the contract signed, I wouldn't put too much stock into
uh,
people saying
I
that they were offered more money.
I just think it's weird that he re-signed with Pittsburgh.
I mean, it's
It's-
weird that he re-signed with Pittsburgh, and it's weirder that Corey Davis got 1.5 times the uh, money he did.
Uh,
That's really
yeah.
weird.
I think the Jets being the Jets, and two, if you had to boil it down to any reason, it's because Corey Davis is more of an outside receiver, I guess. I'm not saying that's a good reason. I'm just saying if you had to find one good reason
Um,
besides the Jets being the Jets.
um, Corey Davis is easier to deal with off the field.
Yeah, Corey Davis doesn't have a TikTok account.
I mean, he may. We don't know. Should probably we should push Corey Davis's TikTok account if he has one.
Go follow Corey Davis on TikTok.
Then we got whatever the heck is going on with the Texans. Oh my gosh, this is wild. This is a long list of guys.
Mm-hmm.
My favorite, Tyrod Taylor, who is supposed to go to Carolina, is in Houston though, so he will probably get a chance to start games at quarterback. Then we got
He's definitely
Mark
going to.
Ingram, who actually may see significant time, even though he's an old man. And then it looks like they're actually beefing up their secondary here. Re-signing Vernon Hargraves the third, and they signed Desmond King. Desmond King only got $3.5 million. Are you kidding me, dude? If you're gonna, this is ridiculous. This is stupid. It, teams are willing to pay wide receivers $13 million to be like an average number two receiver, and meanwhile you're gonna look at a guy like Desmond King, who at one point was like the best corner in the league, arguably, and you're gonna say, oh, he's worth a quarter of the value of Corey Davis. I mean, I don't understand how people determine cap hits. Like, really. If I saw Desmond King was on the market, like, not even doing like any research, just immediately I'd offer him $5 million to play for a season. Like, how does he sign for $3.5 million?
Just wants his career to die, man. I'm not saying that because of the offer he took. I'm saying that because of the team he went to.
Just weird, very strange. Ah,
Uh,
they got a ton of guys though. I mean, it'll
mhm.
definitely. I like this though because I mean we were not liking where they were looking like they were looking really bad a little while ago,
Yes.
and
Yes.
even though it's a lot of names who have kind of had up and down points in their careers, it it's a lot better than it was.
Hmm. Yeah, they're not getting a lot of money either. These guys are going to Houston, so I think it's just them knowing like, yeah, this team's gonna be terrible, but I'm not gonna have a lot of competition at my position, so I could put on some decent tape at least. So maybe I can get a big deal next year where the cap's gonna be normal.
Yeah, but I mean, hey, this is to be honest, even though the Texans are a terrible run organization and a lot of other stuff, there's not one guy on here that I see that they're overpaying for, which is something you can't say about almost any other team, except for maybe the Colts, who we'll talk about next because they literally only have two guys that are even worth noting. So because the Colts
Uh,
haven't done anything, just like we're fine.
yes, yes. Marlon Mack, your guy, got they signed him. And I know that you really wanted him to come to the Bills, but I don't get the point. I don't get the point of re-signing him. I don't get the point of Marlon Mack.
No, it really didn't even. It really doesn't even make sense for the Bills to sign him. But the Bills at least make more sense than the Colts re-signing him because it's like,
Yes.
dude, you don't want him at all. When Jonathan Taylor isn't in the game, you have Naheem Hines in the backfield catching passes. Why do you want Marlon Mack? You don't use him. Don't re-sign him. And you're telling me that no one else was willing to give him $2 million? Are you kidding me? Man, it's just like if you signed a lot of these guys like to just you could make a crazy good team with some of the ridiculous deals teams are getting on good players.
Hmm.
And then I mean Carson Wentz is the other guy that I have here, but he's been there for a while now. We've known that
Yeah,
for a while,
since
so it's like
February, nothing new.
it's like they literally haven't done anything. It's so weird, but yeah, they re-signed the one guy who's not going to change anything for them next season. Wow. Jeez, wow. Okay. Jacksonville.
Yes, Jacksonville. They've been big players. They've been big play. Urban Meyer has been wanting to spend money. It's just kind of confusing in the fashion that he has spent some of this money.
Yeah,
Um,
these are wow.
yes,
That's all.
you're looking at the
Those are
full
some
list.
large dollar amounts.
Hmm. Uh, it's
this is
the
actually
one
wild.
signing that I thought was the weirdest, and this is we could spend 2 seconds on this, but I thought it was really weird that they have Josh Lambo, but they still re-signed Aldrick Rosas to a contract. Not that that means anything.
Yeah, I don't
I
know.
just think Josh Lambo's a way better kicker. Don't get that. My favorite signing from them is the Shaquille Griffin one. Uh, I can't believe that they were able to get him, and their secondary is starting to look really good. Like, they got him. They re-signed Sidney Jones.
I'm
Uh,
Yeah,
it's
no,
just
their secondary is looking good.
yes.
I have to cut you off here though because I cannot say that when I have to I can't do I shouldn't be learning about like how much because I'm just looking at who got signed by what team and how long they got signed for usually when I'm hearing about these signings. I'm not caring about how much they're getting paid.
Hmm.
But if Shaquille Griffin is making 15 million a season and I can pay Desmond King 5 million a season to be on my team, why would I pay Shaquille Griffin $15 million? I know Desmond King's like a slot corner and Shaquille Griffin's an outside guy, but I mean, it's just value. And I love Jamal Agnew. Jamal Agnew's a fun player. I don't know what his base salary is, but this says his contract is up to $21 million. You can't be paying Jamal Agnew $7 million a season.
For me right here, it says 3 years, 14.25.
So that's his base.
Yes.
All right. I guess that's more reasonable. Hopefully the bonuses don't count towards the cap.
Mm-hmm.
But they also have one of the most successful multi-single game performance receivers in NFL history in Marvin Jones, one of the only few receivers to have multiple 4-touchdown reception games in his career. So, I mean, that's good. But like I said to you the other day, off pod, they signed the wrong Detroit receiver. So
yes.
they
Shad
use...
Khan's just sitting there. Bring me that receiver from Tennessee. All right, we'll bring you two. And he's thinking, oh, okay,
Detroit.
Kenny Galladay and Marvin Jones.
Yeah.
And he gets Marvin Jones and Jamal Agnew.
Oh my gosh, just a mess. We didn't know which one you wanted, so we got you both of them. Oh, that's awesome. And neither of them are Kenny Galladay. And it's just... It's like the Jaguars, the thing that I said earlier with like the level of number 2 receivers, like Marvin Jones is just in that number 2 receiver area, high tier, but the Jaguars already have a bunch of number 2 receivers. Go get Galladay, get a number 1 receiver for Trevor Lawrence when he steps into the building. It just makes more sense. Some guys are worth spending money on, but like, I don't know. Marvin Jones didn't sign for that much money though, so oh
well. And wrapping up the South with the Titans, that Bud Dupree contract is absolutely horrid. I hate looking at it. It's terrible.
Wow. Well, I mean, if you're saying it, you know what my opinion is on it. I will say though, they got Jackrabbit, so I mean.
Yeah, they cut Malcolm Butler and Adoree Jackson, and we're like, okay,
and lost Desmond King.
Yeah, and replace them with Janoris Jenkins and Kevin Johnson. They thought that was really like.
No,
right,
they already know. They know Kevin Johnson's gonna be a backup. They're just hoping Jackrabbit can fill in for all 3 of them.
We're gonna need you to play sideline to sideline, Jackrabbit.
Oh boy. That'll be fun. Yeah, that's not much of a replacement. Yeah, if they think Bud Dupree is gonna make up for their entire secondary being gone, they've got some bad things coming.
Mm-hmm. And another pass rushing signing that they had too was Danico Autry. He's a really under the radar guy. I think it's a good pickup. And you steal a guy from a division opponent, so I mean, you gotta love that.
It sure is under the radar because I wouldn't care about it at all.
I like it. He caused the Bills some problems in that playoff game, so he's got my respect.
Okay. So we've got here's another great example of the cornerback market value. Starting with Denver in the AFC West, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Justin Simmons finally got his extension, 4 years,
yes.
$61 million. I'm actually generally okay with that. Ronald Darby, $30 million over 3 years. It's an interesting contract. Also, Shelby Harris re-signs, that good. Mike Boone, only making $1.3 million a year. Yeah, that's a good signing. But the Darby one's kind of iffy for me.
I called that Darby signing. I love that Darby signing. Not the money. Not that he does not deserve $10 million a year. But I'm just glad it happened, because when I said that, you said, "Oh, there's so many better corners they could take. Why would Ronald Darby?" I said, "I like Ronald Darby." You said, "Okay," and look at what happened.
You're right. I mean, hey, there you go. Oh, Kansas City. Oh, jeez. Okay, I guess I didn't realize. even though their tackles aren't tremendously improved here. I guess I kind of haven't thought about the fact that they signed Kyle Long and Joe Thuney at the same time, because if I had thought about it at the same time, I guess I like that more. Now they got two strong guards. That's good for them, I guess. I mean, still not gonna help when the guys are coming off the edge, but the interior, maybe they can run the ball a bit more.
Yeah, yeah, because Kansas City really seems like the run between the tackles team, especially when they get rid of the playmaker as well.
Hey, I mean, you got it. Yeah, I don't know. It's probably it would make a lot more sense for them to spend money on a tackle with how their offense operates. It's right. I mean, I don't have much to say about that besides that. Do you?
No, they addressed their guard spots, but yeah, still gotta address tackle.
Okay, then we've got the Raiders. They're a boatload of fun.
Yes, the Raiders did exactly the opposite of what you said a team should do and just sign five of the best offensive linemen. The Raiders, having probably one of
They
the best
got rid of
offensive
every
lines in the
offensive line.
NFL, just got rid of everyone.
Hey,
Well, first,
but Richie
it got
Incognito's coming back on a 1-year, $2.62 million deal. So
it got leaked that the Raiders were cutting Gabe Jackson and Rodney Hudson. So because apparently the Raiders were looking to trade them, and once that got leaked, they're just like they took whatever they could get for him, and they got like a 5th round and like a 7th round pick for the two of them. It's so bad. Or sorry. For Rodney Hudson, they had to give up Rodney Hudson and a 7th round pick for a 3rd round pick.
oh man, yeah, that's pretty rough, man. I don't know. They've got a bunch of interesting. They've got a bunch of interesting signings though. Like they
I
go.
liked Solomon Thomas. That I liked that one.
Yeah, I do too. They got a lot of. They grabbed a lot of guys on the D line. So, well, I mean, one of them's just a re-signing in Jonathan Hankins, but Yannick Ngakoue, Quentin Jefferson, then on the offensive side, which is really probably more where I'm kind of interested in what they did. 3 guys they added: Kenyon Drake, Theo Riddick, and John Brown, and they re-signed Zay Jones as well. So I mean that they're kind of getting a little bit like they're the new West Coast Bills with Zay, John Brown, and Richie Incognito.
Yeah, I find it funny that Gruden said that he's going to use Kenyon Drake as more of a receiver than a running back. But then he also brings in Theo Riddick at running back, who when I think of more of a receiver than a running back, I think of Theo Riddick.
Yeah.
It's just weird. I don't know if they're just gonna like go 5 wide every single time and just like run Josh Jacobs out of town.
I don't know why they would need this many running backs, and I'm interested to see how John Brown fits in that offense, but at the same time, feels like every year they've had Gruden and Mayock, it feels like the team has actually managed to get like less talented every year, and they're just dumping the entire offensive line this year. So I don't know.
Old school football right there.
Yeah, old
That's
school
early
football.
2000s
Dumping
football
the
right
whole
there.
O line is old school.
That hey, John Gruden won a super.
The trenches
John Gruden
don't
won
matter.
John Gruden won a Super Bowl off of this philosophy. Okay.
Man. Oh, see? Well, look at the next up is the Chargers, and the Chargers. Sorry, I was about to say Titans for some reason. The Chargers signed the guy I wanted the Bills to get, Jared Cook, to a $6 million deal. It's almost like we paid a different receiving threat on offense $6 million to come play for us this upcoming season at a position that we needed less, but that's fine. And then they made Corey Linsley the highest paid center in history, I think, and also re-signed Michael Davis and the Money Badger, who were two huge re-signings.
I was going to say, how are you going to talk about the Chargers and not mention the Money Badger? I'm happy Badgley got that bag. He's gonna produce now that he doesn't have Anthony Lynn there, causing him to get his kicks blocked and for all of them to shank.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't his fault. We all knew that.
Everyone knew that.
Yeah, I like this though. You get you get a vet tight end for Herbert to replace Hunter Henry, and then we also want to see what Donald Parham can do. But I mean, he'll still have time to develop because I don't think Jared Cook's gonna be playing football forever because he's getting a little bit old. And Corey Linsley's gonna be a good center to have for him since the Pouncey guy is gone.
Yes, and sorry about my eyes saw differently here because I was going to be like, yeah, they signed Mike Davis too, the running back, but no, it's just Mike Davis, the corner.
Yeah, sorry about that. No, yeah. I don't know what's up with Mike Davis, the running back. I'm waiting for news on him.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't seen it. He may have signed some... Actually, maybe I did see something. I don't know. It's kind of hard to remember everybody. Ready for the NFC East?
Yes. You want to start with the football team? I'm really disappointed with what the football team did, bringing in Ryan Fitzpatrick. Granted, I think Heineke's gonna flat out win that competition. But
yeah, sure, we can talk about him.
We got to find a way to work Heineke into every single episode.
Well, the thing is, that's really annoying, is now they've got like two of like the most fun quarterbacks to watch in the league, and it's like, I'm going to be happy for whoever is on the field, and at the same time, I'm going to be mad because the other one's sitting on the bench. Like, they're going to have to figure out how to run a scheme with two quarterbacks on the field at the same time, always. Like, not just the two quarterback system where they sub in and out, but they're just always on the field together.
Yes, they got to run that Heisman option every single time.
Yeah. The Heisman formation, except for no one's won the Heisman, and it's just a bunch of really weird NFL players. Like, really unique NFL players in Taylor Heineke, Ryan Fitzpatrick, and we don't know who the third guy is yet, but we'll figure it out. Chase Young's in the backfield with him.
Man. And besides Fitz, that Curtis Samuel deal, I think that's like the best value for a receiver signing that happened so far. Well, you don't like Curtis Samuel as much as I like Curtis Samuel, so maybe you disagree.
I'll say, just quick to not harp on it. I'm not going to say I like the money, but this team is so receiver needy that it makes sense. Like, after McLaurin, it's bad. Like, yeah, okay, it's fine.
And the Lamar Miller signing, I like that. I don't know why.
They're weak.
But I like
they're
it.
Weak at running. I mean, the entire offense really is pretty weak.
So just try to juice it up as much as you can. I like what they've done.
Yeah. No, I agree. We'll just have to see where it goes. I hope their offense can have a little more success than last year because it was kind of their defense carrying them.
They're going to have to compete with the Cowboys somehow.
Yeah. The Eagles did nothing, so
nothing to really say about them.
Moving on. They don't have any money. They're not as bad. Who's the team? They're like, they've got some talent on their roster though. Detroit is the team that managed to have no money and be awful at the same time. That's terrible. Don't do that. It's what you don't want to do. I didn't see this before. So next team I have here is the Giants. I like the idea of getting Rudolph the Red Zone Reindeer. That's cool. Because he catches touchdown passes and stuff, and he's good at that. That'll help him. Besides, what's up with Evan Ingram? He's still he's still on a rookie contract, right? He's not that old. Yeah.
He's probably going into the final year of it.
Yeah.
And they got John Ross too, because if Daniel Jones needed anything in a receiver, it was speed. He didn't need a reliable guy like Kenny Galladay. He just needs John Ross.
Yeah. I agree. The only thing I agree with more than that is the fact that they bring in Mike Glennon, basically like the only guy in the NFL that is considered a like number 2 quarterback that literally is like the only that is also like the only guy that is considered a number 2 quarterback that will not threaten Daniel Jones for his job at all. Like,
Yeah.
do you see anybody calling for Mike Glennon no matter how bad Daniel Jones
No,
plays?
if there was anyone in MetLife during a Giants game, they're like, put Glennon in. I could see everyone around him turn around and be like, no, dude.
Shut up.
It's only going to get worse if he gets it.
Yeah.
Just let Danny Dimes take his lumps here, okay?
Yeah. Wow. Oh,
And Dallas hasn't done anything,
yeah,
so
Dallas doesn't have like anyone new. It's just a bunch of
long
re-signings.
snapper though, I think. I
Yeah,
think
Jake McQuaid agreed to
yeah.
terms on a free agent
Big long
contract.
snapper news all throughout the league. All these teams are like, we really need to buckle down on cap, so let's give these receivers like 2-3 year $30 million contracts, and then let's
Give them
cut the
way
long
too
snapper.
much money and literally cut our long snapper who's only making $700,000 a year, but he's got a vet mid contract instead of a rookie mid contract, so we have to get him out of here.
Yeah. Hey, Corey, you think you could also snap that ball?
Oh my gosh. Hey Dak, we gave you a lot of cash. You think? Oh my gosh. Now, the Bears. Here's another team that's not like anything happy. Oh, they re-signed their long snapper though, so watch out.
Can't hate on that. Can't hate on that.
Yeah, no.
With the long
it's
snapper in
just,
hand, Andy Dalton is going to cook.
Besides, yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Besides guys staying with the team, there's not much news besides Andy Dalton, and I don't think that's any news that anyone is too excited about.
Well, and Kyle Fuller being released and then replaced with Desmond Trufant.
Yes, that. Oh, Trufant signed today. Wow, I didn't know that yet. Okay, it's also not on the screen I'm looking at. So
Yeah, I think Akeem Hicks is also going to be on the chopping block soon for them to free up cap space, so he could also be gone. Maybe even by the time this episode is up.
Yeah. Oh, Akeem Hicks.
Yeah.
I thought he already got released, or was that somebody else? Did somebody else on the D line already get released?
He might have. I saw that it was coming. Like he might not be released yet, or he hasn't been released yet because they're trying to find a trade partner for him.
Okay. Well, yeah. No, the Kyle Fuller thing is just weird though. It's like $20 million a year is expensive,
yes.
But the idea that you're gonna sign you're gonna sign Andy Dalton so that you can cut Kyle Fuller is like, really?
We need to free up 11 million cap space so we can give a 10 mil contract to Andy Dalton and tell him that he's going to be our starting quarterback.
Detroit, even though they have no money, like just like Philadelphia, actually managed to at least grab some players to have like some sort of team put together for the upcoming season, which is good.
I cannot wait to see Jared Goff sling the rock to Brashad Perriman and Tyrell Williams.
And Jamal Williams out of the backfield, because he's a receiving back, so I don't know who's gonna be getting like the main bulk of the carries on the ground, but yeah, no, I
in that absolutely loaded backfield of
yeah.
Kerryon Johnson and Jamal Williams,
they're biting the bullet on the Jared Goff contract, but the rest of these contracts here, I'm actually fairly okay with what they're paying the guys for money wise. Except Michael Brockers, who they traded for, may still be a little expensive, and they re-signed their long snapper.
Yeah, they renegotiated a contract. I think they signed him to another 3-year extension too.
Yeah, I see it. Yeah, that's what I'm seeing here. Next team, the Packers, or anything else to say about Detroit? I mean, Detroit's going to be interesting, but I don't know how much there's to say.
Detroit's going to be a very interesting
but
team.
They're not going to be winning a lot of games.
Yeah, I think Detroit's going to be a team that doesn't win a lot of games, but they're also not going to end up with the number 1 overall pick.
Yeah, I think they'll be fun to watch.
Yeah. Green Bay, there's not much to say. They haven't done much of anything besides re-sign Aaron Jones, and I don't know why you do that when you have AJ
Yeah.
Dillon.
No, like
So,
I said, there's only two guys in the league that I would re-sign at the running back position, and it's Christian McCaffrey and Alvin Kamara. It's
hmm
really it.
and that's because they do more than just run the ball.
Really. I mean, not you can't even just say that because there's other guys that are receiving backs, but like they're just at such an elite level that it's like
Yes.
okay, can't give them up. But even like Aaron Jones, I think you could probably get not the same necessarily, but still pretty solid production from a different number one RB.
hmm
Um, Minnesota was had a terrible cap situation too, so not shockingly they haven't signed a ton of guys. But wow, apparently Dalvin Tomlinson is a lot better than I think he is because he's getting 11 mil a season, and the other guy I'll mention is Pat Pete on a 1 year deal, finally having to leave Arizona after attempting to be forced out for the past 5 seasons.
Just get ready. At the end of this season, a rumor's going to come out saying Pat Pete is not pleased in Minnesota and he wants out.
I mean, with what we've heard about Pat Pete, like having rumors about him, like always wanting to leave, and um, never actually, like always denying the rumors. Like you would think if people kept putting it about out, he would eventually be like, okay, fine. If other people think I should leave, then yeah, I'm okay leaving. But like, he must just be the most relaxed dude ever to be like, no, no, I still want to stay actually.
I don't know who keeps saying this. I want to stay here.
Really chill
Uh,
guy. Dalvin
uh,
Tomlinson though, are you surprised by that? Do you know what I'm talking? It's two
no,
years,
yeah, I
22
was.
million. That's
Mhm.
that's
I don't
wow.
know how they're going to like rush the passer because they're just giving like a bunch of like big like
Big boys.
interior defensive linemen like all their money, and it's just we gotta hope that Danielle Hunter changes his mind about wanting to be traded so we can keep him at least.
Yeah. Yeah, well, hope and pray.
Oh
Um
man.
NFC South, uh
Yeah, sure.
At-
All of these
Atlanta?
teams haven't done much of anything.
No.
Atlanta hasn't done
No,
anything.
no, Atlanta has done one very important thing.
They
Signed
what
Eric
they re
Harris.
oh
Hmm.
okay.
Good
Oh,
player. Good player.
yes. Yeah, and they traded for Lee Smith too. They won the offseason.
Hey, you never
Oh,
know. I mean, just wait. If Eric Harris gets 20 interceptions next season and Lee Smith has 2,000 yards and 20 touchdowns, what are you gonna say?
I'm gonna say I was wrong.
No, you're gonna say you were right. They won the offseason.
Oh, yeah, because I definitely wasn't being sarcastic.
Nah, you
Um,
were you were. Um,
uh,
in other
uh,
NFC South news, the Carolina Panthers have re-signed their long snapper, but also Hassan Reddick, Denzel Perriman, and then two tackles, Cam Irving, Taylor Moton, and even they signed a guard, Pat Elflein. So, sorry,
whoa, you're not
Taylor
gonna talk
Moton,
about David Moore
Taylor
either?
Taylor Moton actually received a franchise tag because he was already on the team. So I just want to clarify that. But I like so the Panthers are actually kind of working towards the offensive lineman thing I was saying, but I mean they were just maintaining one of their guys and the other two guys weren't that like widely known names that I was talking about hoping that a team would sign, but yeah. But I do really like the two linebackers they got and you could talk about David Moore, but I will say that contract for David Moore not too expensive, so I like that.
Uh, I think David Moore's a good fill-in for Curtis Samuel after he left. I don't think he brings as much to the table as Curtis Samuel did, but uh, they for that role that they have in that offense, I think he fills it pretty decently. I mean, they'll probably seek to find a replacement for that role entirely in the draft, but David Moore's a good fill-in for it now. That's all I gotta say about that. Uh,
Yeah.
and
Uh,
then Tampa Bay, they just re-signed their own guys.
Yeah, they even
Nothing really exciting.
literally have only re-signed guys. Um, but New Orleans, they
They
re-signed their own guys too.
they brought back Jameis and
Yeah,
then gave Taysom Hill a $140 million extension.
it's like, oh really? What did they sign him for? 14 seasons? Like,
Uh,
because
I
even at 14 seasons, paying that guy 10 mil a season is too much.
I love how that contract is structured, though. I love it.
That's ridiculous. That's just
I
stupid.
Taysom had to have been like crying while he was signing that. Like, yeah, $140 million. I'm never gonna see.
Um, NFC West.
Yeah, sure. Let's wrap it up.
Uh, wow. Did we? Oh, we actually went pretty quick. Oh, good. Okay, we're not as slow as I thought we would be. Um, Arizona. We've got AJ Green just so that Cliff Kingsbury can say screw you to Larry Fitzgerald, basically, because yeah, he's replacing him, and that kind of ticks me off. Like if I was a Cardinals fan, I would be upset that we're actually potentially gonna have to see Larry Fitzgerald play for another team. That's ridiculous. Um, and kind of the only other guy that's new to the team is J.J. Watt, but we talked about him before. I
Matt
think so.
Prater? You're not gonna talk about Matt Prater?
Sorry, I actually didn't look at the names at the bottom. I just saw that it said P and K next to them, so I didn't look. But yeah, I know Matt Prater. He's been around the block.
And they also traded with the Raiders for Rodney Hudson. So, oh, and
Which you
Kelvin
mentioned
Beachum too.
earlier.
But yeah, nothing really new.
Yeah. Now, what do you think of AJ Green though? I mean, that's that. Like, you don't. Do you agree with me?
John Ross would have been a better signing. I
Wow.
I just don't get the
Wow.
point of it. Does like Cliff Kingsbury have an old man requirement for his offense? Like, we
Old
could improve the
man. The
position with
quarterback.
multiple guys.
The quarterback is like 23 or 4. Oh, oh. Did I catch you off guard? Were you not expecting me to
Uh,
point that out?
what that Kyler Murray is young?
Yeah, you said Cliff Kingsbury has an old like requirement
He is
for
yeah
offense.
for the wide receiver. He
Uh,
has an old man requirement for the offense. He needs that old man position filled,
so
and he
you're just
replaced
saying
Larry
that
with
at
AJ
least
Green.
one guy needs to be old. Okay,
Yes,
okay.
there's an old designated old man position.
I'm getting it. I'm getting it. I'm getting
Yeah,
it.
sorry, my brain was trying to load what you were saying. I'm like, yeah, okay, you pointed out that Kyler Murray is young. That does not change the fact that AJ Green is old.
Uh,
Uh,
Los Angeles.
uh, yeah, they've done nothing.
Hey, man, there's a lot of teams doing nothing. Um, it says Leonard Floyd signed a 4-year, $64 million contract. Was he with them before?
Yeah, he was.
Okay, thought so. But for the rest of these teams, when they've had a player sign that was already on the team, it says re-signed next to their name. That's why I had to ask. Um, San Francisco, they re-signed some important guys: Trent Williams, Kyle Juszczyk. Um, then they re-signed another guy named Trent Sherfield that I don't even know who he is, but I mean, two Trents on offense. That's cool. Alex Mack is a pretty good center. Samson
Yes.
Ebukam on defense signs, and he wasn't there before. And then they re-signed Emmanuel Mosley and Jason Verrett, which is important because they needed to get some of their corners to come back to play for them still.
hmm that Camp signing, they just made their like already stout defense so much more stout. It's insane. Um,
I just love
yeah.
Ebukam's name. Like,
Oh yeah.
like I wouldn't even care like to get him on like the Bills or something. I wouldn't even care what we paid him. Like I've complained about every other person's contract, but I mean, Ebukam, like bring him in. He's just got a great name.
Whatever he wants.
Closing out with Seattle. Gerald Everett signing.
Yeah,
Uh,
that's really about it.
Gabe Jackson. Um, and then they gave Puna Ford their own D tackle 2 years, 14 million with incentives. Um, So
Mm-hmm.
a little bit of help on the O line, a little bit of tight end help, a little bit of re-signing on the defense. And then I guess I'll mention just because it's here, Akilla Witherspoon, DB, signed, but that's not it's not anything I'm too amazed with.
Mm-hmm.
Because he's literally gonna have to replace Shaquille Griffin, which probably wouldn't work too well. Um, I I don't know where do we think Seattle's headed? Like this is
I saw the trade package that apparently Chicago put out. Not that you could pay much mind to that, because I mean it's just rumors. But apparently the trade package they sent was like 3 first, 3 seconds, and then Akeem Hicks and Kyle Fuller, and
how
for
can you
Russell Wilson.
not accept that as Seattle? How can you have a player that's mad within the organization look at an offer that's that good and decline it? That's where I can't believe it. I can't believe that. Um,
Hmm.
like you say that got leaked and that's what it was. I'm
Yeah, so
hesitant to
I
believe.
don't know how much truth there is behind that,
I'm
but
hesitant to believe that because you can get two guys that would make an impact this year, and what did you say? Like 5 picks on top of that, three being in the first round.
yeah, 6 picks, 3 in the 1st round, 3 in the 2nd round.
Good lord. Yeah, I can't buy that. They would have to accept that trade if they offered that. There's no way. There's no
Hmm.
way they would decline that.
Yeah,
Especially if their quarterback is like, duh.
unless their unless
Unless
the
Pete
deal
Carroll has
breaker.
a unless Pete Carroll has a lot of say in terms of the GM, because then he could be like, "Oh, I'm not rebuilding this team. We can't get rid of our quarterback." Because
Yeah,
he's like the oldest coach in the league, is he not?
I think he is.
Yeah. So, I mean, I guess that's not shocking. Well, that's everything. But
Hmm.
did I? Sorry, I kind of cut you off there. Did you have anything else to say there on that?
Nah, it's just I can understand, I guess, if Pete Carroll turned it down because he just said, "I am old.
Yeah, that's the only thing.
I don't want to rebuild a team."
I hate the idea of that though. That that would really bother me. Yeah, no,
Hmm.
and he shouldn't have a say in that. It should be the GM's decision. Ugh.
Yep.
Well, alrighty.
Eh,
Um, did anything else happen that we missed? I don't think any. I mean, I'm sure we missed something, but
yeah, I
what are you gonna
mean,
do?
we don't like actively check anything while we're recording, so we probably miss stuff throughout the time we're recording this,
I'm sure
and we'll feel stupid.
I'm sure
But
60 guys signed places, and
yep,
then the guys that we talked about from today's signings that signed their contracts today all
all
actually
got released.
turned around and actually said, "Well, I didn't sign the contract yet, so actually I'm going to sign somewhere else." Now it's all wrong.
Yep. Oh man, I think for just our luck.
Just our luck. Alrighty, so we're all
Uh,
set.
yeah. You wanna just cut it here?